Greetings, guys. How's everyone? I hope you guys are doing well. I'm okay, guys. I'm doing well, and thanks for tuning in, guys. All right, guys. Today we will be doing the odds of success on a review, right? On a review about a labor-related case. What are the odds of success, right? On an arbitration review. If you want to review an arbitration, what are the odds of success? That's what I will be dealing with today. Okay. All right, guys. Let's get to it. Okay. I mean, the Labour Court has formulated a novel, right, and useful way to assess the odds of success in an arbitration review, right? It is tough to lose a case in arbitration, especially if you were convinced you'd win, right? You are convinced the arbitrator got it wrong. You are thinking about taking it on review to the Labour Court. Like it always happens, you feel that the arbitrator did not do right by you. So you want to take the matter to the Labour Court. If you do, you'll be in for the long haul. About 2 years, 6 figures legal costs, and no guarantee you'll win this time around. Like that's what it works, because it takes a lot of money and it's time consuming when you take the matter to the Labour Court, right? So what are your odds of success? How long or how wrong does the arbitrator have to be in the eyes of the Labour Court before it will overturn the award, right? Meaning the yardstick, how wrong must the arbitrator be in order for the Labour Court to overturn the award, right? All right. Right, now we get to a test for review, the test for review. The Constitutional Court crystallized the test for review in the Stumo case. It was expressed as a question which the Labour Court must ask when deciding whether to overrule an arbitrator's decision. Is the Commissioner's decision one that a reasonable decision maker could not reach? That's a very key and critical question. The Labour Court has applied this test consistently in subsequent reviews. It used different language to refine the thinking on how the test should be applied from case to case. A useful example is to consider that reasonableness indicates a range of reasonable decisions. The decision will not be reviewable if it falls within the range of decision which reasonable people could come to. Hope you guys understand that. This means that a court should not interfere with a decision if it was reasonable, even if it doesn't agree with the arbitrator's decision. What will be an unreasonable decision, right? Let's check the test now. What will be an unreasonable decision by the arbitrator? The Labour Court has said it will consider a decision to be unreasonable if it was 1. Unsupported by any evidence. 2. Based on speculation by the Commissioner. 3. Entirely disconnected from the evidence. 4. Supported by evidence that is insufficiently reasonable to justify the decision or made in ignorance of evidence that was not contradicted. That's a test for unreasonableness. That's what the Labour Court considers as a test whether the decision by the Commissioner or arbitrator is unreasonable. Assessing the odds. The Labour Court has formulated a novel and useful way to assess the odds of success in a review. The case concerned gross misconduct relating to copying tendered documents in suspicious circumstances. The Labour Court found there was clear and convincing circumstantial evidence to prove that the employee had acted with dishonest purposes. The judgment noted that South African law has 2 standards of proof. That's very key. I think most people need to understand one. Number 1, it's what we call the balance of probabilities, right? Balance of probabilities. Civil cases equating to 51% probability. And number 2, beyond reasonable doubt. Criminal cases equating to 90% probability. So here's what happens. In the labor-related cases or labor-related matters, the principle of balance of probabilities or standard of balance of probabilities, it is the one that applies, right? Meaning, in the labor-related matters, the standard of beyond reasonable doubt does not apply there. It only applies on the criminal cases. But on the labor-related cases, the standard that applies is the standard of balance of probabilities. The court in Moses Ketane referred with approval to a third standard used in the United States, clear and convincing standard between this equating to 70 to 75% probability. The judgment expressed a preference to equate this to a 70% probability, being midpoint between 50 and 90%, right? And just lastly, this is a departing short, a tip. The court is unlikely to set factual findings aside on review unless they are clearly wrong. And the clearly wrong factual finding on the formulation in this case means the probabilities should fall within the clear and convincing standard of proof, about 70% probability. The odds of success in a review will be much better if the prospects are assessed using this standard of proof, right? I hope you guys are quite clear in understanding of what the odds of success on taking the matters to the labor court for the review and what standards are used there. So each time you take a decision, you decide, you know what are the consequences and what are the expectations for you to have a success. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. And if you've not yet subscribed, please do subscribe. So each time I drop a video, you get notified. I drop videos on Wednesday and Saturdays, right? But in between, it is something that urgent, I feel like talking about, I do that. But in terms of the sequence and the publishing schedule, it is Wednesday and Saturdays. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in, and thank you very much, guys, for supporting the channel. Please do share the video on social media platforms, and please do recommend the video to others as well, so this information reaches as much a wider audience as it possibly can. Thank you very much, guys, my Africa. Siyabonga. Lesedi.